Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about a pretty new topic which is been around and which is available and many organizations are using on top of cloud. And not only top of cloud, but to make sure their data, their services, their applications are safe and secure, right? And to do that, what they are doing is they are doing different assessments and different reviews, right? So what I'm talking and what I'm going to talk about, right? So those are the two different topics. But in this video, I'm going to cover one topic for now and another topic, which is going to be a kind of a review of the configuration. That's going to be something I'm going to talk in another video, right? So what this topic is all about, it's the cloud security assessment, right? So what is that one and why we are doing it, right? Many organizations are using cloud and they are adopting different cloud services, be it Azure, AWS, GCP, IBM, and Oracle. And these are a few names, but there are many different cloud providers as well as there are many SaaS solutions, right? And all those SaaS solutions are being used by different companies, different organizations for different requirements and different businesses or use cases, right? But basically, when it comes to accessing and using any of those services, that is very important to know and understand how we are protecting the data and access levels and security and everything together of our organization, right? Even if it is hosted in the cloud providers platform, cloud data centers, and the cloud provider is taking care of everything, but still there is a shared responsibility model for all of those workloads, right? And it depends on the workload that you are going to use, be it infrastructure as service, platform as service, or software as a service. And if none of these are any of those services you are using, then it could be either your own data center on premises that you are hosting everything in house and building it from scratch, and you are managing everything from scratch, including uh, creating and setting up appropriate space for data centers, providing the electricity along with cooling system and then power supply and then networking connectivity and everything together, right? So you have to manage everything from scratch in that scenario, right? And at the same time, you would also have the people who are going to work on different layers, including network layer, security layer, along with the applications and databases and system management and servers and data center management and everything together, right? So you would spend a lot of time, money, and all of that stuff to manage the whole data center at there when it is in their in-house, right? In-house as in the company owns everything from scratch. But when it comes to the cloud, cloud follows the shared responsibility model, right? And in the cloud platform, we have this model which has a different responsibilities on the cloud providers and different responsibilities for the cloud service users, right? The users as in customers who are using it. And why this is important and why it is important to know and understand is that when we are using any cloud service, be it PaaS, SaaS, or IaaS, right? We need to make sure our applications, data, and systems and networking and everything is safe and secure, right? And that is why we have to take appropriate steps. And to do that, there would be these security assessments along with the configuration reviews, right? So in this video, I'm going to talk more onto the security assessment, right? And then another would be for configuration review, right? So kind of security assessment is going to be a kind of low level or a high level configuration checks, and the configuration review is going to be on depth level, which is going to be on a low level, right? Where we will get into the its deep configurations and look around it, whether it is configured successfully, how it is configured, what are the things are available there, right? So all of that stuff, right? So let's start cloud security assessment review or cloud security assessment, and let's decode it, what is there, how we can do it, and all of that stuff, right? So let me share my screen, and this is going to be PowerPoint presentation to walk you through, and you will learn about it, how we can do it, and what are the things that would involve in this one. Right. So cloud security assessments. Who is this for? It is for engineers, architects, and learners. Learners could be anyone who wanted to learn and know and explore opportunities across cloud security assessments, right? And they can learn and understand and they can utilize the same skills in their uh, role, or probably whenever they are working with that different teams in collaboration with any of the requirements, right? So let's move to the next one. Right. So what is cloud security assessment? Right. Here you can see the single line, which is a holistic review of cloud environments to ensure compliance, security, and resilience is configured and set appropriately. So this is a pretty straightforward. There is nothing much into this one, and I kept it in a simple way or simple format to understand it. Right? That is more important instead of knowing what is cloud security assessment and how you are going to do it. But it should be very easy and straightforward to understand for anyone. The next is define scope and frameworks. What are those, right? So here you can see I have list out few frameworks and benchmarks, right? Using CIS benchmarks, NIST, CSF, ISO 27001, CSA, CCM, and scope is applicable to infrastructure as service, platform as service, SaaS, software as service, networking, and IAM. And there are many other as well, but I kept few of them to just get into this one to understand. And the scope can be larger as well, and depending on the organization and requirements, right? So every organization is different, unique, and how they wanted to do their assessments and reviews and everything together. Let's start with IAM, which is uh, centralized identity access management service for any of the cloud platforms. And without IAM, it is something like no one should be able to access anything, right? And everything is at the center point, right? If we are providing access to anyone, that means they have the access at least a standard user, and if not, then they would might have administrator access, or they might have a different specific role using RBAC or something like that, right? Here we would enforce different least privilege permissions to be able to perform their respective jobs, right? And they should not have the highly privileged roles, which is not really necessary, but they might end up doing unnecessary things, right? And that is why we wanted to list it down and make it limited to in the scope of permissions and access levels, right? MFA for administrators and users to be able to use the respective services as a second factor authentication so that the identities are not vulnerable for the attacks at all. Also, we would use RBACs in order to provide least privileged roles, and only that respective role would give them access to maybe use respective uh, workloads and do their job, right? And the last one is detect dormant accounts. That means this is going to help us to identify what are the dormant accounts, dormant as in the accounts which are not being used as all at all. Also, it includes or it could be into the service type of account as well. And those might be integrated with different applications, services, and systems to be able to perform different actions in automation sense and other areas as well. Next is data security and encryption, right? And before moving to the next one, I wanted to give you one clarification here. All of these are the high level capacities I have mentioned in this presentation, right? Because as I mentioned, each organization is different, unique, and they do follow different capabilities to be able to perform their security assessments. And it is not necessary to, they have to follow only these listed capabilities of cloud security assessments as well as configuration reviews that I'm going to talk about. But it depends on the how organization is going to do that, right? But to start with, these should be the good start and move ahead, and gradually each organization is going to adopt different capabilities to be able to move ahead and do their security assessments, right? Let's come back to the topic, the data security and encryption. Encryption at rest and transit. That means we wanted to make sure data is encrypted during transit as well as at the rest, right? Whenever or wherever it is being stored, be it in the cloud, on premises, or any other systems, using key vaults and key management service. across the cloud platforms to be able to make use of those keys and client secrets and client IDs appropriately to the respective applications and integrations wherever those are needed. And that should be available for the systems wherever it needs to be able to perform the different actions in automation sense. DLP and data classification policies to be able to data is moving appropriately and not export or not allowed to share it across out of the business systems or out of the assets, right? And to be able to classify the data as well, where the data is classified with the different classifications, be it highly privileged or private, public, or whatever it is, right? The next one is network security. So you can see there are four uh, practicals or four ways, including no open ports are available. We wanted to allow only the respective ports, whichever needs to be communicating to the different systems, right? And only those systems would be communicating using that respective port, along with the proper firewall rules to be able to allow and block certain traffics that is coming and going out from the systems altogether. And the very important part of this is segmentation between production environment and non-production environments, right? So that's also something we wanted to segmentize, and then we don't want that to be keep in a same structure or same environment so that it is or it might collate the real production environments. And use of private endpoints in the cloud system, so that we wanted to only let particular endpoint or respective service needs to be able to communicate with the respective service or application and not to any other ones. The next one is monitoring, logging, and alerts. So here you can see we can monitor or enable monitoring across Cloud Rails, Azure Monitor, integrate with SIM service, alerts for high-risk events, right? I have mentioned few of them here, but in the cloud and the broader range, if you see across any cloud platform, be it Azure, AWS, or GCP, right? They do have so many different monitoring, logging, and alerting capabilities available, right? And all those capabilities would be utilized to be able to identify what's going on across the systems, across the platform, and how we can take a look around and take the proactive as well as a reactive actions and steps to be able to resolve any high risk events or any integrated solutions that is going to generate alerts. And we wanted to go ahead and see what's going on, what's happening across the system. And we don't want that system to be down, or because that's going to uh, break the systems and that's going to impact the business at the end, right? So this is also very important in that part and should be able to set up and configure and do the security assessment review for the same. The next is vulnerability and threat management, where we would have appropriate systems to scan the solutions and configurations that we have deployed across, including Defender in the Microsoft ecosystem, Business Spectre, and Qualys is one of the third-party solution which also does the vulnerability and threat management scanning and gives us the complete details, right? And take the reactive and proactive steps to be able to resolve and identify any issues. The next is patch management for patching servers, patching systems, and wherever there are vulnerabilities, that means we should be able to identify those and take the appropriate actions before making it something vulnerable for the threats, right? And the third one is container scanning. So container scanning is something which is into the kind of the complete virtualized environment, right? We all know the container is something like Kubernetes or in both sense or all the cloud platforms, right? So that way we would have to scan those for vulnerabilities and threats management, and we would take the appropriate actions again against it. The next is, and this is going to be the one which is, I believe, last one. Yep. So deliverables from assessments. What are those deliverables and how we are going to classify and uh, take the next steps, right? So once we do the cloud security assessment, right, Then what are the next steps, how we should start engaging the respective stakeholders across the organization, and probably, as I said, depending on each organization, and each organization is unique and different, and they are following different practices to be able to do the security assessment for the cloud platforms, and they do have a lot many different things too, right? So the first one, to identify risk severity ratings and classify them, including critical, high, medium, and low. And what are those findings, including unencrypted storage accounts, be it open ports, and those should not be really needed because those might bring in vulnerability and can be potential attackers loophole to be able to get into the system, right? And then recommendations for enabling KMS, enforce multi-factor authentications, right? And we don't want any kind of service accounts as well as service principals are not put into risk at all with highly privileged permissions as well. And then remediation roadmap, right? So that should also be developed, and that should be given to the respective team actually, or whoever is going to implement all of these changes or configure all these capabilities across the cloud environment, right? So, yep, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about it, right? And this is completely on a top level or high level, I would say. But if I have to give you in a depth level on the cloud security assessment, that means definitely it's going to take a something to do the deep level analysis and bring all the capabilities of security assessments, right? As I said, the security assessment has lot many things to do and offer during the assessment for the cloud platforms, and this was specific to cloud platforms because if we have to do it in the on-premises or hybrid environment, definitely that can also be done, and that is also possible. But in the cloud sense, I have created this one, and these are the different things at the high level, or maybe high level at 200% level, right? So you have to understand that one as well, right? So, yep, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about, and hope you like it, learn something new, and let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, anything, and I'd be happy to answer those. And don't forget to like this video, share it to the friends, people, and around you as well, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every new video whenever it is available and uploaded. So, yep, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.